Hey, welcome to this episode of the EVERBLACK Nerdcast. On this show, we talk to probably one of the most influential people, not only in the comic world, but pop culture in general, and one of my biggest personal heroes, Kevin Eastman, co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, Kevin is heading down here for Supanova in Melbourne and the Gold Coast, and for any huge Turtles fan, this was massive news, including myself. Now, I'm not going to lie, when this came through, I was pretty damn nervous, and I'm a huge Turtles collector, and Kevin's work was, and still is, life-changing for me. And he couldn't have been cooler. He was just a really down-to-earth dude, really patient, and everything you'd want and hope for in a childhood hero. 6 years of doing this, and that was definitely a highlight, having a chat with him. He's just one of a kind, really cool guy. And, you can meet the man himself along with a ton of other great guests at Supanova Comic Con and Gaming Expo on March 6th to 8th in Melbourne, and Gold Coast March 13 and 14. Tickets are on sale now through supanova.com.au. There is also a special limited edition Cowabunga Pass where you can get admission to the whole weekend of the con, get your stuff signed as well, a professional photo with Kevin, special edition pins and more. It's pretty damn epic, and I'm pretty keen on getting one of those myself. Alright, before we go into this episode, I just need to give a shout out to Blacklight Art and Design, who are our go-to for all our screen printing needs. They do shirts, hats, patches, you name it. If you can wear it, they can print it. They've done all our shirts and hats for EVERBLACK Media, and they're awesome guys, always really helpful. www.blacklightad.com.au. Show is also brought to you by our good friends at RW Promotion, who are the best in the biz when it comes to stickers, flyers, banners, badges, and all other promo you need for your band or business. Go hit them up at www.rwpromotion.com.au. Also want to give a shout out to our good friends at the occult clothing brand Electric Witch, who are just absolutely killing it right now. Their designs are just incredible. I like their shirts, dresses, tops. They've even got kids' clothing. So if you like things on a little bit of the darker side, brutal designs, this one is for you. So check out Electric Witch at www.electricwitch.com.au. And also, shout out to Matt for giving us the code EVERBLACK20. And if you put that in on your order, you'll get 20% off. So big shout out to those guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the EVERBLACK podcast through iTunes Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube, and Facebook. And check out all our reviews and articles at www.everblackmedia.com. Like us on all the socials. And we will see you at Supanova. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Here is my chat with the one and only legendary Kevin Eastman, co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Can't believe I'm saying that out loud. It's totally awesome. Cowabunga, guys. Horns high. Enjoy.
Kevin, how are you, mate?
Neville.
Yeah.
I'm doing fantastic, thanks. How are you, sir?
I'm awesome. I'm talking to you.
Well, I'm awesome. I'm talking to you. So happy. You guys are a bit further on in time than we are. So you guys are already into Wednesday, I'm guessing, yeah?
Yeah, well into Wednesday. Time travel, brother.
Okay. Oh, I love it. So I look forward to time traveling to see you all very, very soon.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to meeting you because I'm a massive Turtles fan. I've got a very large collection, much to my wife's disapproval, and Mikey tattooed on my arm, and so it's awesome you could join us on the show, man. This is an awesome day.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks so much. And I just have to make a note of this right away, is because the Turtles was an insanely crazy idea, and the fact that it works in the United States is because, well, most Americans are crazy. But then, it works in other territories, other countries, and other places in the world, like Australia. It just proves that you guys are as crazy as we are. So I feel like coming over to visit you all is going to be like coming home.
Well, of course, we're talking about Supanova, Gold Coast, and Melbourne, and that's this March. And, man, there is so many people I know that are so keen to meet you and get their stuff signed. I mean, you've come down here a couple of times in the past, haven't you? For cons and promo stuff.
Yes, we've been. Any chance we can come down, get a breakaway and get them down there to visit with y'all is we jump on it. So it is great to be back heading down because it's been probably I think like 4, maybe 5 years since we've been over that way. So there's a lot of our shows. We travel all over the world, but and a lot of domestic shows and European shows and stuff. But it's pretty exciting to come down and come see y'all.
You meet so many people and they bring you so much to sign. Does it change from country to country? Is there a particular item that people bring, in different areas that you picked up on?
Well, it's been really, it's really fun, and I've noticed and actually it's one of my favorite things is that when somebody will quite often and pretty often bring up a item that they perhaps have had since they were a child, maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, and it's a lot of times it's been chewed by the dog a little bit, or it's been beat up and well worn, or as how I call it, well loved. And they'll bring this item up and they'll say, "Well, I'm sorry, this is the only thing I have for you to sign." But to me, it's like I flip it back on them and say, "This is the highest compliment ever. Not only that you have an item that you treasured and loved as you were a young person, and you've kept it all these years, no matter what condition it is. This is cooler than a comic book in a bag that's in mint condition, because this was something that you treasured for so many years and so long." And so so that's it's I love that stuff.
In saying that, have you had a certain introduction that has left a real impression on you? Something that's deeply moved you?
Well, I think it's a mixture, and it is some of those things that I get such wonderful stories. Say that they, and this is kind of falls back on to how I grew up. I grew up in a very small town out in the countryside, up in New England, up in Maine, and to me it was comic books and things like that showed me a way to a pathway of escapism and imagination and this idea that if you can think of a story and you can write a story and even draw a story, you can go to magical places that you can sort of takes you away and helps you create and be something outside of the world that you live in. And so a lot of times that I've had people come up and say, "Well, my childhood wasn't all that it could have been or it should have been, but I always loved that I had, comic books or a comic character or something, in particular the Turtles, that helped me say, well, they went through a pretty rough time, the Turtles, and it helped me sort of get through some pretty rough times. And I kind of leaned on them a little bit, and I just loved that they were I felt like they were by my side. And to me, that's incredibly touching, because I grew up in like I said, a very small town, and my comic books and my storytelling, my drawing was very important to me for those same reasons.
That is really powerful, man. That effect that you guys have had so many years, just drawing the Turtles, then years later, it's just turned into this thing that's just affected so many people in so many different walks of life. It's a beautiful thing, dude. it's awesome. It's such a good feeling.
It is. It's humbling. It's humbling in so many ways, and that for that exact reason is that something that you created out of, say you had passion, and both Peter Laird and myself had this great passion to tell stories, and we were sort of those geeks in school that were back when the term geek wasn't a positive thing like it is now, or more of a cool thing. But it was kind of our own thing, and we kind of came up with this idea that it was very silly. It came out of a nice place, but it was just meant to be kind of a one-off. Hey, this is a really fun idea that we really like, and then to have it gone on as many years that it has, and actually, like you said, touched people in a way that, whether it's just, hey, I remember that, and I wore the Michelangelo, costume for Halloween for a couple of years or whatever, or it actually touched me more deeply, it's quite overwhelming and, like I said, humbling in so many ways.
I've always gotten a bit of a metal sort of rock vibe from you. You're out of the pair. Is music played a part in your artwork? Have I sort of nailed that, or am I way off?
No. Music, I think, much like different kinds of pop culture that we tend to weave into our own personalities. I mean, I grew up, my mom and Dad were into country and Western music early on. Discovered, I'm talking, I'm almost 60 years old, so it's like discovering the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and different kinds of progressive, that kind of music to my personal love. Then I drifted towards, blues rock, heavy metal. So I would listen to everything from, Allman Brothers to AC/DC to, Led Zeppelin to, other bands. And I have quite a love and passion for opera, from Mozart to whatever. But it's sort of, I think the music is much like artwork in that, you as a person, you might love Monet, you may hate Monet, you may love Jackson Pollock, you may hate it, you may like the Beatles, you may hate it. It's our own personal likes. We decide what we like for any of those things, and I was the same way. But I even to this day, I still listen to music pretty much nonstop while I'm working.
Is there a go-to? Like if you're trying to tackle like a big action scene or something like that you're trying to draw, do you have like a go-to band or song?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I was sort of looped into a period of blues and rock and roll and R&B at a time when it was, we're talking like the 80s, where we had like bands like the Del Fuegos or the Smithereens or Treat Her Right or the Bodines, or even like, Hootie and the Blowfish, or these guys that were sort of Robert Cray, the guys that were, again, much like I did as a child, sort of building on the creativity of the creators in comic books that came before me. You see these guys sort of taking rock and roll to this next level. I mean, put it this way, I'm old enough to say that I remember when they played, Video Killed the Radio Star on MTV when it first hit. But to me, it's more just keeping me company, and I will go to a lot of familiars and stuff. And but I'd like, people laugh as whether it be Pink Floyd or I don't know. It's a song that sort of strikes you for the moment, sort of takes you away to another place for a little bit while you're working.
Love it. And of course, your story. I mean, both of you, you and Peter's story is that of legend, and it's something that, for me, it's really moving and inspiring, especially with the recent episode of that Toys That Made Us. It really got to me, man. I believe you're reuniting with him for the last Ronin. Is that right?
Well, it's and not that I don't want to take anything away from anybody's feelings that they felt from watching the Toys That Made Us episode, because it's sort of it was a really fun and special moment, but at the same time, it made it seem like Pete and I were distant. And I would say that, and I'm trying to say this as carefully as I can, because we worked together on a 2015 documentary called Turtle Power that we taped a lot of interviews together. We did 30th anniversary signings. We did covers together. We've always keep in touch. We've been, we've never been apart. It's just they made it seem like they got us back together again for the first time, which is completely incorrect. We'd always been friends. We've been friends for a long time. But what was fun about The Last Ronin is it is based on an idea that Peter and I wrote together back in 1987. And Tom Waltz, the incredible writer that I worked with at IDW, who wrote the last 100 issues of the IDW Turtles comics, we're adapting that story into a 5-part series called The Last Ronin. And so it's on a very detailed treatment that Pete and I wrote 30 years ago. And so, yes, so in a sense, Peter's he's fully retired, and with his blessings, we're adapting a story we wrote 30 years ago into something that reflects everything that we had in mind back then. So it's pretty exciting to me personally as a friend and big fan of Peter Laird.
Absolutely. And of course, we've had the Turtles team up with like Batman and Ghostbusters, which I'm a fan of. Is Is there one team up that you'd love to tackle or love to see happen?
Well, besides like Turtles meets My Little Pony, maybe in a team up or something like that. No, all kidding. It's no secret that I'm a lifelong and very passionate Daredevil fan. So of course Turtles Daredevil team up would be wonderful. But one of the things that actually goes a little bit further back than Daredevil is my favorite Jack Kirby comic. Is one of his DC Comics creations called Commandy, The Last Warrior on Earth. And I really do think it's a combination of that being the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater when I was a young child, was Planet of the Apes, and then Jack Kirby's furtherance of that concept with Commandy, where the animals rule the earth and the humans are sort of reduced to these animal-like creatures, except for Commandy, who has been in this bunker for the whole time during this big, what they call the Great Disaster. It was really, I think that was where the mutation aspect to me, because, mutations are prevalent in every form of, whether it's X-Men or Avengers or every comic we've ever fallen in love with. But in these animal characters, these mutated animal characters in Jack Kirby's Commandy, I think that was a real genesis of where the Turtles might have sparked originally. So I would say a Turtles Commandy crossover would be the thing that would be a bucket list for me.
That sounds awesome. That sounds really, really cool. I'll be honest, I wasn't a real big fan of the last couple of live-action Turtles movies. I mean, I know it's somebody's Turtles. But I am an old man, so I'm sort of stuck in my ways. But do you feel that there's been an interpretation of the Turtles that you feel that didn't get it, or might have committed the ultimate sin against what they are?
That would be pretty much the last two Turtle movies. My concern with the last two Turtle movies was that they took away the underdog, the hero, the teenage character. I mean, it took away. We love heroes like Sarah Connor and Lieutenant Ripley, and these guys, these heroes sort of, come from nowhere, and they sort of rise to this level of a hero by making them 6 foot plus and making them bulletproof and all that stuff. So no, I had a lot of concerns. I love that we get to see Casey, we get to see Krang, we get to see a number of things that we've not seen live action, but I felt that the tonality of those movies really missed the mark of what embodies all things Turtles, which I would go back to the very first. And actually, we're talking about the 30th anniversary of Turtles Movie 1, Jim Henson, Steve Barron. That's where we need to be. If there's going to be another Turtles movie, you have to go back to those kind of basics. That's the Turtles we know and love, and that's the ones that always work the best for me.
Damn right, dude. I'm so with you on that.
Damn right.
I could quote that. I could quote that movie. It is just, oh mate. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. As one of my heroes, I feel very lucky to have had the time with you. So thank you so much for hanging on the show, Kevin. We will see you at Supanova Melbourne and Gold Coast. Until then, take care, my friend.
My pleasure, Neville. Great talking with you, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Cowabunga.